Okay, and welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time. Victoria 3 and the Great Qing. Um, not particularly happy with what happened with that war with Great Britain. Probably should have kept my nose out of it. I've lost territory, racked up a bit of a debt. Otherwise, I think we're still functional and should bounce back reasonably quickly as soon as the devastation wears off. Which, yeah, that hurts. That's why our GDP is down. Lead is really the high thing? I'm surprised about that. Though, maybe I shouldn't be, because we did expand glass construction and consumption a bunch. What are we short? 5,000, 7,000-ish lead? Yeah, okay. Just gonna make all the lead then. All the domestic lead. And then, yeah, I think we're on to trying to make clothes. I know I said I wasn't going to make clothes because we're going to electrify it later. But I don't think the clothing upgrade... Like, it's a good upgrade. I don't think it's necessarily something to wait for. Because it's only like 40 each. We do have a lot of demand for clothes, which is a lot of potential demand. Well, a lot of potential jobs. So 7.8 or 7.7. So 17,000 clothes we have demand for. Oh, this is has a minus 30. That's what it's coming from. Okay. 100, 200. Yeah, let's start with 200 textile mills. So we're going to sort by unemployed. Highest unemployed place is the top. So we're building 200 of these. So I'm just going to build 3 stacks of 50. The Oath of Artec, which is improved steel mills. So we've got an oversupply of steel. Doesn't completely surprise me. Breech loaders, not really worried about that. No, sure. And then we can't electrify because we don't have electricity bill. There we go. Yeah, let's go up and try to get up to full law enforcement. Stabbed in the back, myth. Oof. The anarchist's a little grumpy. which subvention are we actually paying out on? Merchant Marines. That's probably one where I don't want to be subventing it anymore, let's say. Paper and fertilizer. This is against our subject, so shouldn't be too much of a problem. Send over the red banner. And apparently we're not earning money anymore. It's a little bit of a problem. GDP's back up going up, so maybe I should worry a little less about that, but... To be fair, everywhere that's deficit is still significantly impacting our capacity to generate revenue. Subsidies are high. Steel mills are the highest. Trade centers are surprisingly high as well. There's that mandate. Go ahead and grab the last on vassalization, which is 5 more authority per subject. And I can temporarily raise the government wage. That gives us 250. Fine art and glass. Or drop coal. Let's drop coal for the moment. Yeah, groceries, glass. Get this back in the green. There's a room where he's going to make a bunch of clothing manufacturers. I might move over to Merchant Marine. Apparently we're still importing Merchant Marine, though it is reasonably cheap. our most rebellious subjects. Burma is at 69. Once I get down to 65, we'll probably convert another protectorate to puppet. Okay, so there's my extra declared interest. Well, that's also the radio attack. So, do I want... How badly do I want central planning? It's maybe a good way to think about it. We're currently 7 techs behind on Air 3. We do have a 15% cost reduction, reduction from that cost. It's maybe not too bad. Yeah, I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and do corporatism. That way we can try to use the Confucian scholars to quickly pass healthcare and such. And then we'll use the extra bureaucracy we'll get from doing the telephones and such afterwards. Meantime, I can look at how much I'm going to need the bureaucracy. 4,220-something telephones. So 70 telephone makers. We'll queue these up behind the clothing makers. And we will go ahead and subsidize these. We got a long queue that we're not going to be there anytime soon. Really? You're building synthetic plants? Why are you building synthetic plants? Because apparently it's profitable. Apparently there's that level of demand for dye. And I'm surprised if there's that level of demand for dye. Well, they are the capitalists. Like, I'm surprised they're not building dye plantations. But they're capitalists, so they don't need to build dye plantations, I suppose. You're down to 62. Okay, probably at the point where I can start to reduce taxes. Oh, maybe not. They didn't realize just how outrageous the high taxes is in comparison to my income. Okay, so that's a stable government. We don't necessarily need to swap to that government yet. But it should be fine when it shows up. Mill's on the rise. Hopefully unemployment's on the decline. Nicaragua against the communists, so we'll go send some guys to suppress some communists. Last 75 are the telephones. We're not necessarily in a rush to get to the telephones. Though I think telephones will possibly be profitable, because we're probably the only people supplying telephones. Yeah, corporatism. We actually have the other law we want to go with corporatism already. It's been spread to us with human rights. Investment banks. That's another corporation? Yeah. Not sure which corporation I'm going to grab. And the combustion engines is what's spreading to us. Which is another potentially very lucrative building to make. Automobiles. Assuming we can successfully import the item. Oh, and we were even tariffing clothes. So other people are obviously making clothes and enough that the price is almost stable with us importing. Yeah, not enough consumption of luxury needs. Which maybe isn't surprising. I dread how many... We got 615 nationally owned buildings. On laissez-faire, where everything's being sold, yeah. Okay, not any more that we can... Puppets. Not for the moment. The next one, which is Casimir, is 30, so we need to wait for them to drop to 24. Investment banks. Cars, okay. Now here's a question. What do I want for number 3? Could do paper. Textile company, if it was something other than radicals, I'd be tempted to do. Birth rate we're gonna avoid. Actually, oil isn't too bad. Though it's only oil is the problem with that one. Yeah, looks like it's only going to be one. There's a couple that I could do there too, but not too interested in those ones. Anyway, I'll just take the generic clothing one. As it buys up all the clothing, it will make the clothing far more profitable. So we'll hold off probably on building more clothing for a while, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're still got devastation in places. Yeah, the devastation's almost gone at this point, though. And we can see that the private queue's decided we need some automobiles. It can build them, and they're in theory very profitable. For weeks, and we'll bring the people in and try to swing for healthcare and such. And we're at the point apparently where we need more construction sectors. So first things first, we need some healthcare. Public healthcare, technically opposed by the industrialists. In the meantime, central planning, please. Yeah, it's 3 years, but it's 3 years well spent. Okay, let's try to the private queue just shrink a little bit. Well, max leveling the construction sectors. There we go. Back to electric industries, health taxes. Government should cover the costs. Swings it up into much faster advancing territory. Okay. Food. Actually, no, I think we're gonna go iron. There's like 200 iron mines? Okay, so we'll definitely queue up a bunch of that. Alright, queue up what's left of the iron mines in country. At some point we're going to have to import it going forward, but at least we'll have the GDP for making it locally as much as we can. 43 got that from the wood. Okay, maybe overinvested in the private queue there, but I think it'll work out in the long run. $36 months, so still 3 years. Still think it'll be a good thing to do, even though it's going to take forever to build. And okay, this isn't very profitable because there isn't the demand for it. What I can do is we can go ahead and say, feel free to export that without a tax on it. Should lower the subsidies a bit. We'll get the world hooked on our telephones. We prefer not pissing off the industrialists more, so take the slow road. Right now we gotta import all our rubber. So the fact that it's getting expensive means there just isn't enough on the world market, so I'm just gonna go build some other people's rubber. Hopefully they export it. we've got a lot of subsidies going. I suppose we should try to back off on some of the subsidies. The steel mills are probably the ones that makes the most sense to back off on. As I see more steel mills being built, yeah, I should probably back off on the steel subsidies. There we go, back in the green. How are those telephones looking? Well, they're about market stable, with us only subsidizing their production, and presumably not subsidizing very much because they weren't in the top couple subsidies. Yeah, we're paying 2,000 for somewhat decent export. Put a export tariff on them, because I suspect the world will keep consuming, and we'll make a pretty penny off of it. At least enough to pay for the tariff or the subsidies. Yeah, still paying for those subsidies. To be fair, I think the subsidies are probably coming from paying for the rubber, to be fair. So, as we make more rubber, hopefully the rubber prices come down. Sorry, Twitch chat, I can't do that. First of all, Great Britain hates my butts. And guts, and everything. Second, I don't have the DLC, so while I am playing on the most recent patch, I don't have the DLC. And I'm not accepting that. Anyway. So as a side effect, I don't have monopolies. More government admin. Bureaucracy is negative. Can't build that abroad. So Twitch chat was saying that was a joke, so you can't get on the first #1 power. Though if I played my cards right, they wouldn't be the first #1 power for very long. They're not far off from becoming #2. Wow. Did not realize I'm importing fabric. Not something I think that's worth fixing right now. Cars into the moon. Yeah. Working central building. Central building's another 17 months out. And I have no domestic rubber sources. We built most of the ones abroad. Built all the domestic... yeah. Built all the domestic lead as well. Could discourage merchant marines and build some of those. So we're importing 1,000 merchant marines. So divide by 20. It's about 50 ports. Okay. More rubber out there that I can build. A little bit. Not much of it is particularly profitable. Which inhibits it being hired up, which is the problem there. So as I can make those engines. It's about 60 more engine makers. To be fair, I think if the rate that public healthcare is going, we'll probably end up having to expand bureaucracy to support the public healthcare a little bit before we get central planning. Yeah, we want these guys to drop to 65, which they're doing. We're just gotta give them time. I might have enough bureaucracy, or enough authority. Put in the tax on. Luxury hose tax. Mutual trade privileges, okay. Yep, let's just do 100 food industries. Oops, last one was a bad choice. Okay, so we got 20 queued up. Okay. And to be fair, that's going to shift around food demand, so the demand will go up as we make more supply. Which is why I'm willing to build so much. There's electrical capacitors. Definitely becoming more and more tempting to attempt electrification. Okay, that'll cover the bureaucracy cost for the public health care, so not a problem losing the level for the moment. A 50% chance this will be on the next pass. After which we'll probably try to go for old age pensions. So whereas it might sound, you've got 13 or 14 million unemployed people. It'll help deal with the unemployment a little bit, it'll also help keep demand high by giving all those unemployed people money with which to buy stuff. Oh! Ooh. Public health care crashed. We have an unacceptable government. Because you decided to be a theocrat of all things. Stabilize the government, get it moving a little bit faster by lowering taxes, which is what we'll do. Really private queue? You think steel is the way to go? It's not even like it's foreign steel, which would make a lot more sense to me. Yeah, we got a decent demand for fine art, so 250 fine art. This is about 40 art academies. The grand plan was to get healthcare to help improve the health of the citizens. And old age pensions. It's not working very well. Though we got a little bit lucky with the 5% tick moving us forward. Get back to adding more... Oh, we're actively adding food. A combination does not deeply... Oh no, we could probably put more of that in. Add like another 30 of those. There's central planning. You know, probably do electrical railways and start trying to electrify. Alright. We have a lot more bureaucracy now. We'll have to turn around and probably build more telephones. We'll see how the telephone price adapts. Can probably support, assuming they're profitable right now. They should be profitable at that price. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff that isn't profitable, but they're not on that list. Okay. Another 60 of these. Increased taxation capacity is nice. I'm going to drop down to medium taxes, and then we'll continue to milk the capacity to increase our taxation capacity with it. At this point, the next thing we're going to do is government admin. And I am actually going to go for basically what's left of the taxation demand here. Start chipping away at it. Taxation capacity, so we can actually collect the revenue that we're making. I'm also surprised the Confucian scholars are as weak as they are. Part of that might be coming from the fact that their leader is just so unpopular right now. Okay. Can't do anything there. We are going to subsidize the power plants. In the event we have 50 in the queue there, putting one everywhere. And we're going to begin the long and arduous process of electrifying. Oh, and that, of course, brings in GB. Okay, so we should at least be able to hold out long enough that the British go home, because there's nothing actually keeping the British in this war. see, if we can go land the one objective against America, might get America to tick down a little bit faster. Okay. I want to do electrification, but I think other than building the one everywhere, I think we're going to wait till the next recording session, next stream. I do want to finish this war out, which will make this a bit of a long part, but in the meantime, let's work on some paper. Okay, we got there, they got there. Theory, that is a fight that if you actually start the landing, you'll win. And we now control theory all the objectives. So now, I just need to wait and hope that we don't lose all the fronts in the meantime. Okay. We've run into one of those famous glitches. Well, good news is I don't need to hold Bali to technically win the war. Would make it, you know, easier if we hold Bali, but we don't have to hold it. There's no place, even after building electrical facilities, no place needs electricity right now. Which I suppose is a good thing to see. Building furniture would increase the price for our wood, so let's build some furniture. Decent demand for that. Okay, take Bali back. That should hopefully help us win the war faster. You know, weirdly, old age pensions might pass where public health care didn't. Even though there's a greater opposition to old age pensions. "60 levels of art academies. Oh, interesting. They made it so our economies don't take up any infrastructure usage now. Very interesting. Okay, plan an invasion with you. And the GDP continues to go up. We're definitely at the point in the game where our funding is growing. So yeah, at this point, we're just waiting for America to, you know, surrender. Because we control the objectives. I think they're more likely to surrender once the UK leaves, and the UK is probably going to leave the moment they go negative. Okay, we can make more of those if we could. We could make more silk. How much are we importing right now? 3.5 thousand. Basically 50,000 worth of silk demand there. No, 5,000 silk demand. Let's see if I can count. 10's 400. That 100 is 4,000. So I need like 1,025 levels. Or no, 125 levels. Let's see if I can continue to count, which is maybe not my strong point when I'm this tired. Relative military strength. So that'll stop. Well, actually, no, that's already negative. Oh no, that's making them. Yeah, okay. So that'll significantly reduce the moment the UK leaves. British war girls that we lost? What British war goals that we lost? Oh, that was... They want to imply some war goals, which they can't do. Well... Winning. Oh, well... What if they lose? Or leave? It's Academy of Finishing. We're importing that much. $2,500 divided by 20. 125 levels of port. Which, as you can see, the civilian sectors are like, yeah, that'll definitely be profitable. Just they're not delivering enough. Yeah, I'm surprised the British are hanging around. I suppose I could, and I may give in and make that fabric. 16,000 fabric. So 10 cotton mills is 1,000. So it's 160 cotton mills. There's nitrogen fixation. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have the oil supply for that. Though I might. I legitimately might. Fertilizer plants. Says it'll be throttle, so we'll do the swap. And if we're definitely doing it on the plants, then we definitely want to do it on the farms. Alright, well, it was a little pricey, but that's good. That means we have the capacity to expand it. And grain going down is not bad. Intensive wool gathering just requires more grain, so that's definitely the to implement one. Maybe not a particularly strong one, but easy to implement is strong in its own way. If I could hold out for Tindor at this point. And then my subject has 2 states instead of 1, which is definitely better for me. They're really trying to sell me on that white piece. I don't think it's gonna work. If I did on my iron. Yes. Could do another 30 arts academies. There goes Great Britain. And do more food industries. So like 80 more food industries. And then apparently we need some railroads in some places. I've been building a little too heavy. Work in the civilian sector is able to replace. Yeah, put forward that proposal. We'll agree to you handing over Tindor. Of course, at this point, the British are out of the war, aren't they? That means I can go blockade the American West Coast. At this point, we're just going to wait until America gives up and just gives us what we want. Let's not make them a puppet just right this minute. We'll wait until the war ends. Yeah, they're the ones going to become the next puppet. That's the proposal. That's the proposal we will accept. Legislative failures, which is fine. 7% chance this succeeds, 18% chance it completely fails. Go ahead and finish up these civil wars we got in Central America. Okay, build those. Might be at the point where it actually was building some glass. Owned by a company? Yeah. Okay, let's not build the glass thing because we don't want to upset the delicate balance with that company. I build lead, but we don't have any to build. Could move some softwood over to hardwood. Yeah, let's move a little bit of softwood over to hardwood. We do have rising demand once again for art, so another 30 art makers. And we achieved $1 billion GDP. We're down to... In fact, actually, I think unemployment's up. We're up to 12.6 unemployment. I think some of that is coming from building plantations. like the silk plantation and the cotton plantations. Oop. Hello, Twitch chat. What country do you want to see? I'll go take a look at it as soon as I'm done with the Civil War here. Central America. Okay, oh, we're importing transports again. Let's put a tariff on those. Ah, you want to see the Qing. There's the Great Qing. We're mostly controlling, well, other than a little bit of expansion into Afghanistan, we're mostly controlling people by puppets. Let's see, build another 50 of those. Yeah, it's doing pretty good this run. See here, one down. The other one should end soon. There we go. And the GDP, for whatever reason, is down a bit. Probably trim all the costs from the demobilizing of the war. Yeah, that's probably what it is. It's a lot of demand the government was pulling right there has gone away. Oh, I'm actually somewhat surprised no one's streaming Holy 4 right at the moment. Yeah, hope you've been enjoying. Hope you can find a Way 4 stream. I'm coming at the end of this stream here. We've been streaming for 5 hours. I think as we demobilize here, where the GDP will drop a little bit, but we got a lot of growth potential. Hoping to get old age pensions beginning of the next recording session. And then once we're done either succeeding or failing with old age pensions, we're going to come back and try to get public health care again. I might have to give up and just give the industrialists what they want, which is private health care. When do I stream? I try to stream every night. So I'm not the most reliable on when I start streaming and when I stop streaming. I try to stream 8 to midnight, but as you can see, well, I'm on West Coast time, so West Coast time it's 2 a.m. in the morning, so I've been started a little late and run a little long, because I've streamed for 5 hours and I normally try to stream for 4. But yeah, so if you're watching on YouTube, because I'm recording this also to upload to YouTube, the next part should be recorded by tomorrow. When do you stream here? Oh, okay. The next part should be recorded for you by tomorrow. The moment I'm doing a 4-game, 4-day cycle, so the next stream of this should be in 4 days. We'll come back, we'll rely and get Great Qing actually over 1 billion, stay over 1 billion probably in the next stream. As the GDP per capita is rising, it's probably being holding back a lot to some degree with the number of unemployed. Tomorrow will be Shadow Empires. The day after that will be Grand Tactician, the Civil War. The day after that will be the Long Dark, and the day after that will be Victoria 3 again. If you're watching, if you're for the stream schedule, that's the upcoming stream schedule. Watching YouTube, this should be the last of 4 parts for this night's stream. Because I've recorded 6 days ahead, there should have already been the next part recorded for you by tomorrow. Yeah. And it's supposed to be watching on YouTube, and you can't wait till the next one. You can probably sneak over to Twitch, since the VODs stay up for 7 days after I record them. And I do record it live to Twitch. Though Twitch gets whatever quality can be uploaded to YouTube. Or uploaded to Twitch as it streams live, whereas YouTube gets the compressed local recording, so YouTube should be getting a reliable 1080p. Whereas Twitch gets whatever it can. Granted, right now Twitch maybe is getting 1080p at 60 frames, which... Okay, maybe it hasn't been reliable over the entire video, but it's probably pretty good for the moment. The run's definitely working. We're having a little bit of hit and miss. We failed to get public health care on the first attempt, and we're attempting old age pensions, but we're probably going to fail. We got a little bit too much opposition from a grumpy industrialists, and the industrialists are quite powerful, so they get in the way. The scholar officials aren't quite out yet. If we have a monarch change, the next monarch will be Petit Bourgeoisie, which means the scholar officials will probably just disappear at that point because we'll swap over to Petit Bourgeoisie and something else. Although that won't get us off of monarchy unless we get a different leader to Petit Bourgeoisie to overrule it. But yeah, so we're also at the point where I think the tax revenue is going up, up, and up. We're on proportional taxation. Maybe a little bit early on the swap there, but I think it worked out in the long run. We are at the point where we're making $500,000 more than we would on per capita. And we did do the swap from land to proportional just to not get stuck on per capita. And I think as we go forward, that's going to get an even bigger gap there, where this is even more and more and more valuable. We're probably never going to swap over to graduated, but graduated apparently is worth even more. Though graduated is probably worth more because we'd get tax revenue from the foreign held stuff more from the dividends, because I do have it set up that the capitalists can develop foreign holdings in all our puppets. May also try to do some power block diplomacy, try to weasel our way into a few other countries. Like, it looks like Sulu is potentially something we can get into. Although Sulu is, the problem with Sulu is that they're currently... No, they're 100. We can probably get into Sulu in the next run, next stream. And then probably get into... Well, just invite these guys in right now. Invite them into the power block. And I can probably do a pass doing some subjugations. We'll check that out next time. I'm not going to do that right now. Someone's surprised that's going to cause us to lose 90 cohesion. So yeah, that's where we're going to go ahead and end this recording for the bit. So if you're watching, or I hope you've been enjoying what you've been watching. So until next time, wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next one, and bye for now.